The lonely footsteps of Tom echoed through the dimly lit cargo bay of New Mars Colony Spaceport. His night shift was almost over, and he was doing his final rounds before heading home. The red dust from Mars had settled on the massive metal containers, giving them a rusty look even though they were barely a month old. As he walked between the towering stacks of cargo containers, something caught his attention. A soft, blue glow was coming from between two containers. At first, he thought it might be some faulty equipment, but then he heard it, a quiet sob that didn't sound quite human. Tom moved closer, his hand gripping his flashlight tightly. "Hello," he called out, his voice bouncing off the metal walls. "Is someone there?" The sobbing stopped instantly. The blue glow flickered like a dying light bulb. Carefully, Tom peeked around the corner of the container. What he saw made him drop his flashlight in surprise. Curled up in a small ball was a child, but not a human child. The being's skin looked like clear crystal, with streams of blue light running underneath, like glowing veins. It couldn't have been bigger than a 6-year-old human child. The alien child looked up at Tom with eyes that seemed to be made of pure light. Tears rolled down their crystalline face, each drop glowing like a tiny star before hitting the ground. "Hey there, little one," Tom said softly, kneeling down to appear less threatening. "Are you lost?" The child didn't speak, but Tom suddenly felt a wave of sadness and fear wash over him. It was so strong it almost made him cry. He realized the child was communicating telepathically, sharing their emotions instead of words. Tom reached for his radio. "Control room, this is Tom in Cargo Bay 7. I need someone from Alien Relations down here, and maybe a medic too." He paused, looking at the trembling child. "And bring some blankets and food if you can." While waiting for help to arrive, Tom sat down next to the child, making sure to keep a comfortable distance. "Don't worry," he said gently. "You're safe now." The security cameras later showed what had happened. During the big diplomatic conference earlier that day, a group of crystalline aliens had secretly left the child behind. They had used the busy spaceport as cover, abandoning one of their own among the cargo containers. When the medics arrived, they found the child was weak but otherwise healthy. The Alien Relations team tried to contact the crystalline species representatives, but their ships had already left Mars orbit. It seemed like they had planned this all along. News of the abandoned alien child spread quickly through the spaceport. Workers gathered around the medical bay, watching through the windows as doctors tried to communicate with the mysterious young being. The child's skin would change colors with their emotions: deep blue for sadness, purple for fear, and occasionally a faint green when Tom would visit and tell them simple jokes. "The poor thing's been rejected by their own people," said one of the doctors to Tom. "Apparently, they're considered defective because they can't control their telepathic abilities. Instead of helping the child learn, they just left them here." Tom watched as the child made patterns of light dance across their skin. "But why Earth's Mars colony? Why here?" The doctor sighed. "Because they knew humans would find them. We have a reputation, you know. Other species think we're too soft, too caring. They probably thought we'd take responsibility for the child." Tom smiled as he watched the young alien finally eat some food, their skin glowing a soft pink color that they hadn't seen before. "Well," he said, "maybe being too caring isn't such a bad thing after all." That night, as Tom finished his shift, he took one last look at the medical bay. The alien child was sleeping peacefully, their skin glowing a gentle white. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a story that would change how the entire galaxy viewed humanity. The news of the abandoned alien child spread across Mars colony like wildfire. Within days, ships from different alien races began arriving at the spaceport. Each wanted to see this crystal child that everyone was talking about. The first to arrive were the blue mist people, floating creatures that looked like patches of blue fog wearing fancy clothes. Their ambassador glided into the medical bay where the child was staying. The crystal child's skin turned purple with fear at the sight of the strange beings. "We cannot take this one," the Blue Mist Ambassador announced after just 5 minutes. "Our atmosphere would shatter their crystal form." Everyone knew this was just an excuse. Blue Mist people had special suits they used when dealing with solid beings all the time. Next came the Rock Walkers, huge beings that looked like walking mountains. Their leader stomped through the hospital halls, making the floor shake. Too fragile, they boomed, not even entering the child's room. "Would break in our gravity chambers." They left within an hour of arriving. The space swimmers arrived in their water-filled suits, looking like walking aquariums with tentacles. They spent more time with the child, even trying to communicate. But when the child accidentally sent out a wave of happy thoughts that made everyone in the room start laughing uncontrollably, they quickly backed away. Uncontrolled telepathy is dangerous. They gurgled through their translators. "We cannot risk our mental security." They swam away in their suits, leaving the child's skin turning a deeper shade of blue with sadness. Even the plant-like tree singers, known across the galaxy for raising orphans of other species, refused. "Our songs cannot reach a mind so different," they hummed. "We would fail this child." Tom watched all this from his new post. He had asked to be assigned as security for the medical bay. Each rejection made his heart hurt, especially when he saw how the child's skin would dim a little more each time. The worst visitors were the child's own people, the Crystal Singers. They arrived in a ship that looked like it was made of diamonds, wearing robes that sparkled with 1,000 colors. But their beauty couldn't hide their coldness. "This one is defective," their leader said, voice sharp like broken glass. "Its telepathic emissions are too strong, too wild. It cannot sing the crystal songs properly. Keeping it would weaken our entire society." The human doctors tried to argue. "But the child just needs help learning control," one said, "with proper training." "Our methods are perfect," the Crystal Singer cut in. "If it cannot learn our way, it cannot learn at all." They turned to leave, their robes sparkling. "Do what you want with it. The child is no longer one of us." As they left, the child's skin turned almost black with despair. The lights in the medical bay flickered as waves of sadness rolled off the small being. Nurses and doctors found themselves wiping away tears they couldn't explain. That's when Tom did something that surprised everyone, including himself. He walked into the child's room, sat down next to them, and started singing the simple Earth lullaby his mother used to sing to him. He wasn't a good singer. His voice cracked on the high notes. But he kept going. Slowly, the child's skin began to lighten. The waves of sadness grew weaker. By the end of the song, their crystal form had taken on a soft, pearly glow. "See," Tom said to the doctors watching from the doorway. "Different doesn't mean wrong. It just means we need to find a new way." The child reached out and touched Tom's hand. Everyone in the room suddenly felt a warm feeling of gratitude and hope. Dr. Brown, who had been taking care of the child, smiled and made a note on her tablet. "Well," she said, "if no one else wants to help this child, then we humans will. It's what we do best, finding new ways to solve old problems." Little did they know, this decision would start something much bigger than just helping one lost child. It would show the galaxy what humanity was really made of. While the alien diplomats argued in their grand meetings about what to do with the crystal child, a simple conversation was happening in the Mars colony cafeteria. Mary and Jack, two terraforming engineers, sat drinking coffee and watching the news about the abandoned alien on the wall screen. "Those poor people from Earth Relations must be going crazy trying to find a solution," Jack said, stirring his coffee. He and Mary had been working on Mars for 5 years, helping to make the red planet more livable for humans. Mary wasn't listening. She was watching the footage of the crystal child, their skin glowing different colors, as they tried to communicate with the doctors. "Jack," she said suddenly, "remember when we talked about wanting kids?" Jack looked at his wife, then at the screen, then back at his wife. "Mary, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" That afternoon, they walked into the hospital wing where the child was staying. Tom, who was still working security, recognized them from the terraforming project. "Here to see the little one?" he asked with a smile. "Actually," Mary said, "we're here to talk about adoption." The hospital room went quiet. Dr. Brown, who was checking the child's vital signs, dropped her tablet. Even the child's skin, usually a soft blue, flickered with surprise. "You want to adopt them?" Dr. Brown asked carefully. "You do understand this isn't a human child. The telepathic abilities alone could be dangerous. We still don't know their full potential." "We help transform entire planets," Jack said. "We're used to dealing with the unknown." Besides, he looked at the child, whose skin was starting to glow with a hopeful green color. "Everyone needs a home." Suddenly, everyone in the room felt a wave of joy so strong it made them laugh out loud. The child was practically glowing gold with happiness. "Well," Dr. Brown said, picking up her tablet, "that's certainly a clear answer from them. But there will be challenges. Big ones." Over the next few days, Mary and Jack went through more meetings and paperwork than they'd ever seen. Earth government officials, Mars colony administrators, and alien relations experts all had questions and concerns. "How will you handle the telepathic outbursts?" one official asked. "We'll build a special room with dampening materials," Mary answered. "We work with radiation shielding and terraforming. We can adapt that technology." "What about their crystal biology? Their nutritional needs?" "We've already talked with the medical team," Jack said. "We'll learn everything we need to know. We'll adapt." "And the cultural differences, the communication barriers?" Mary smiled. "Love doesn't need words," she said. At that moment, everyone in the room felt a gentle warmth. The child, listening from the next room, was sharing their agreement. Finally, after what seemed like endless discussions, the adoption was approved. Mary and Jack became the first humans to legally adopt a child from the crystal singer species. The day they took the child home, Tom was there to say goodbye. "You know," he said, "they still need a name." Mary and Jack looked at each other. They had discussed this. "We were thinking Alex," Mary said. "It means defender of humanity in ancient Greek, because this little one is going to help humans show the galaxy what we're really about." The child, now Alex, touched both their hands. Everyone present felt a mix of joy, gratitude, and love so pure it brought tears to their eyes. As they left the hospital, Alex riding on Jack's shoulders and Mary carrying their bags, Dr. Brown turned to Tom. "You know," she said, "some of those alien diplomats said humans are too emotional, too quick to help, too willing to take risks for others." Tom watched the new family leave, Alex's crystal form glowing with all the colors of a sunrise. "Maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs more of," he replied. They didn't know it then, but this was just the beginning of Alex's journey, and humanity's chance to show the stars what real family means. Life with a telepathic crystal child proved to be both wonderful and challenging for Mary and Jack. Their home on Mars colony became a testing ground for new ideas and innovations as they helped Alex grow and learn. The first challenge came during Alex's first night at home. Their emotions during sleep were so strong that they accidentally broadcasted their dreams to the whole house. Mary and Jack woke up seeing strange crystal cities and feeling emotions they couldn't name. The next day, Jack started working on what they called the dream room. "It's like building a greenhouse," Jack explained to Alex as they worked together. "But instead of keeping heat in, it keeps thoughts in." He covered the walls with special materials they used in terraforming to block radiation. Alex helped by touching different materials and sending feelings about which ones worked best. Mary focused on helping Alex learn to control their abilities. She remembered how she used to practice yoga and meditation on Earth, so she started teaching Alex these techniques. They would sit together in the living room, breathing slowly, while Alex practiced making their glow dimmer and brighter. "That's it," Mary would say encouragingly when Alex managed to keep their emotions from spreading to others. "Just like turning a light switch up and down." Alex's skin would turn pink with pride at each small success. The neighbors, instead of being afraid, became curious about their unusual new resident. Old Mrs. Wilson from next door started bringing over cookies, fascinated by how Alex's crystal form would glow orange with delight at the taste of chocolate chips. Mr. Lee, a computer programmer, helped create a special tablet that Alex could use without their telepathic powers interfering with the electronics. Econ Tom, who still worked at the spaceport, visited regularly. He became like an uncle to Alex, always ready with a joke or a funny story that would make Alex's skin sparkle with laughter. School was another adventure. At first, they tried remote learning, but Alex was lonely. "We can't keep them isolated forever," Mary said to Jack one evening. "They need to be with other children." So they worked with the local school to prepare a classroom. The teachers and students were trained about telepathic abilities, and special dampeners were installed to prevent emotional overload. But the most amazing thing was how quickly the human children adapted. "Alex helps us understand each other better," one of Alex's classmates explained to a reporter who came to write about the unique situation. "When someone's sad but pretending to be okay, Alex helps us know they need a friend. It's like having a friendship superpower in our class." There were hard days too. Sometimes Alex would get overwhelmed, and their emotions would cause lights to flicker or computers to glitch. Once, during a bad day, they accidentally shared their memory of being abandoned with their whole class. Instead of running away scared, Alex's classmates gathered around them in a group hug. One evening, as the family sat watching the sunset through the Mars colony's dome, Alex did something new. Instead of just sending feelings, they formed actual words in Mary and Jack's minds. "Love, you, family." The thoughts came slowly, like someone learning to write. Mary and Jack both started crying with joy. Alex's crystal form glowed so brightly it lit up the whole room, switching between gold for happiness and deep red for love. "We love you too, Alex," they said together. Later that night, after Alex was asleep in their specially shielded room, Mary found Jack looking at old pictures from Earth. "Sometimes I wonder," he said, "if we're doing enough, if we're doing it right. There's no manual for raising a crystal child." Mary smiled. "Look how far we've come already. Maybe there's no manual because we're writing it ourselves, every day." Outside their window, Mars glowed red in the night sky, while inside, a soft blue light pulsed gently from Alex's room, the steady glow of a child finally at peace, finally at home. Everything changed when Alex entered their teenage years. Just like human teenagers, their body began to change. But the changes were far more dramatic than anyone had expected. One morning, Alex woke up to find their crystal form pulsing with new colors no one had ever seen before. Their telepathic powers had grown so strong that even the special shielding in their room couldn't contain them anymore. The whole block could feel Alex's morning confusion, and nearby computers started showing strange patterns. "Something's wrong." Alex sent the thought to Mary and Jack, their mental voice shaking with fear. Their crystal skin was flashing with streaks of lightning-like energy. "I can't control it anymore." The crisis reached its peak during a normal school day. Alex was sitting in math class when another student's frustration over a hard problem triggered something in them. Suddenly, every electronic device in the school exploded with sparks. Everyone within 100 meters was overwhelmed by waves of mixed emotions. Fear, anger, confusion, and worry all rolled into one massive telepathic storm. The school had to be evacuated. Alex huddled in the corner of their specially designed classroom, their crystal form now pulsing with dangerous-looking red and black energy. "Stay back," they warned when Mary and Jack tried to approach. "I don't want to hurt anyone." News of the incident spread quickly. Ships from other alien species began appearing in Mars orbit again, but this time they weren't coming to help. They were coming to demand Alex's removal. "The crystal child is too dangerous," the Blue Mist ambassador declared in an emergency meeting. "They must be contained or expelled from populated areas." The rock walkers agreed, their voices shaking the conference room. One telepathic burst could disable our ship's computers. They are a threat to space travel. Even some humans started to worry. Parents from Alex's school sent concerned messages. The Mars Colony Council held emergency meetings to discuss the situation. But Mary and Jack refused to give up. "Alex is our child," Mary said firmly during a council meeting. "We don't abandon family just because things get hard." That's when Dr. Brown, who had been studying Alex since they were found, stood up with an idea. "What if we build a new kind of training facility? Not to contain Alex, but to help them grow." The human community of Mars Colony came together like never before. Engineers who worked on terraforming projects offered their expertise in building special materials. Computer scientists developed new kinds of shielding for electronics. Teachers who had worked with Alex volunteered to help create new learning methods. Even Alex's classmates helped, sending messages of support through the specially designed communication system Jack had built. "We miss you," they wrote. "School isn't the same without feeling your happiness when someone tells a good joke." The Earth governments, after hearing about the situation, made a bold move. They officially granted Alex human citizenship, declaring them under Earth's protection. "Humanity has a history of helping those in need," the announcement stated. "We will not stop now." While the new training facility was being built, Alex stayed in a temporary shelter. Mary and Jack visited every day, wearing special suits to protect them from the intense telepathic energy. Despite the danger, they never showed fear. "Remember when you first learned to control your powers?" Mary asked Alex through the communication system. "We'll do it again, together." Alex's crystal form softened slightly at her words, the dangerous pulses of energy calming for a moment. "Why do you still help me?" they asked. "Everyone else thinks I'm dangerous." Jack smiled. "Because that's what humans do. We don't solve problems by running away from them. We face them, we learn, and we grow stronger together." As the sun set on Mars that evening, casting a red glow through the colony's domes, Alex watched their parents leave for the night. Their crystal forms still pulsed with powerful energy, but now there was a steady core of warm, golden light in the center. The light of hope, the light of family, the light of human determination to protect their own, no matter what. The new training facility stood like a shining beacon on the edge of Mars Colony. Its walls were built with layers of special materials that could handle Alex's strongest telepathic bursts. Inside, it looked more like a home than a science lab, with comfortable rooms and open spaces designed specifically for Alex's needs. 6 months had passed since the crisis began. Alex spent their days working with a team of human scientists and teachers who refused to give up. Mary and Jack visited every day after their work at the terraforming station, sharing meals and stories through special communication screens. "There's something we're missing," Dr. Brown said one evening, looking through her notes. She had been studying Alex's crystal patterns when they used their powers. "The energy isn't random. It's trying to do something specific." That night, Alex had a dream. In it, they saw their original people, the Crystal Singers, but differently than before. They weren't just sending simple thoughts and feelings. They were connecting, sharing memories and experiences in ways Alex had never imagined. When they woke up, their crystal form was glowing with a new, steady light. "I need to try something." They sent the thought to their teachers. "But I need help." The humans organized a test. 20 volunteers, including Mary and Jack, gathered in the facility's main room. Everyone wore safety equipment, ready for another possible telepathic storm. "Don't block it this time," Alex told them through the communication system. "Don't try to shield yourselves. Just be open." Taking a deep breath, Alex focused their power, but instead of trying to control or contain it like before, they let it flow naturally. Their crystal form began to glow with all the colors of a rainbow. Something amazing happened. Instead of the usual overwhelming wave of emotions, the volunteers felt something different. They could see each other's memories, understand each other's feelings, share their experiences in a way words could never capture. Mary saw Jack's memory of the day they decided to adopt Alex. Jack felt Mary's joy when Alex first called them Mom and Dad. The scientists experienced each other's excitement at every small breakthrough. Even Tom, who had come to visit, shared his memory of first finding Alex in the cargo bay. "It's not a defect," Dr. Brown said in amazement, watching the readings on her instruments. "Alex's powers didn't develop wrong. They evolved. They're not just sending thoughts and feelings. They're creating bridges between minds, helping people truly understand each other." The Crystal Singers had always used their abilities to share simple thoughts and emotions. But Alex could do more. They could help people connect on a deeper level, share experiences and memories in a way that built real understanding. News of the breakthrough spread quickly. Scientists from Earth rushed to study this new form of telepathic connection. But more importantly, ordinary people began volunteering to participate in what they called sharing sessions with Alex. School bullies cried when they felt how their actions hurt others. People with different beliefs began to understand each other's points of view. Families grew closer by sharing memories they could never put into words. One evening, as Alex sat with Mary and Jack in their now modified home, they shared their deepest fear. "What if my own people were right? What if I am different?" Mary smiled. "Being different isn't wrong, Alex. Look at humans. We're all different from each other, and that's what makes us strong." "Besides," Jack added, "if you weren't different, you wouldn't have discovered this new way of bringing people together." Alex's crystal form glowed with warm colors of love and acceptance. Through their connection, Mary and Jack could feel not just Alex's happiness, but also their growth from a scared, abandoned child into someone who was making the universe a better place. Outside the window, the first stars were appearing in the Martian sky. Somewhere out there, the Crystal Singers continued their old ways. But here on Mars, a new kind of connection was growing. One that could only happen because humans chose to help instead of fear, to love instead of reject. 10 years had passed since Alex was first found in that cargo bay. Mars' colony had grown, and Alex had grown with it. Their crystal form now stood as tall as a human adult, glowing with confident, steady light that could change colors as smoothly as a sunset. The day the Crystal Singers returned, everyone knew something big was about to happen. Their ship was larger than before, decorated with precious gems and rare metals. This wasn't just any visit. This was their High Council. They landed at the spaceport where Tom had first found Alex. Tom was there again, now the head of security, watching as the Crystal Singers emerged from their ship in their sparkling robes. "We have come for the one called Alex," their leader announced. "We have been watching. We have seen what they can do." The Crystal Singer's voice was different from before, less cold, almost respectful. News cameras from Earth and Mars streamed the event as the Crystal Singers explained themselves in the colony's main hall. They had discovered that Alex's defect was actually the next step in their species' evolution. Their deeper connection abilities could help their people grow in ways they had never imagined. "We offer you a place among our highest ranks," the Crystal Council leader said to Alex. "Return with us. Help us learn this new way. Take your rightful place among your own kind." The hall fell silent. Mary and Jack held hands tightly, their hearts heavy but ready to accept whatever choice Alex made. They had always known this day might come. Alex stood before the council, their crystal form glowing with a rainbow of emotions. But when they spoke, their mental voice was clear and strong, reaching everyone in the room. "My own kind." Alex looked at Mary and Jack, then at Tom, Dr. Brown, their old classmates, and all the humans who had helped them over the years. "These are my own kind." Moving to stand between their parents, Alex continued, "You abandoned me because I was different. These humans took me in because I needed help. You saw a defect. They saw potential." Alex's glow brightened as they spoke, filling the room with colors that showed their every emotion. You want me to teach you about deeper connections. Look around this room. Humans already know about deep connections. They connect through love, through kindness, through their willingness to help others even when it's hard. Through their powers, Alex shared with everyone in the room the memory of Mary and Jack choosing to adopt them, of their classmates giving that first group hug, of Tom singing badly but kindly to comfort a scared child. I am not just a crystal singer who learned from humans, Alex declared. I am human. My papers say so, my heart knows so, and my family proves it every day. The Crystal Council leader's form dimmed slightly with disappointment. You would reject your biological heritage. Alex's colors shifted to a warm, confident gold. I'm not rejecting anything. I'm choosing to be who I really am, someone who can bridge different worlds. I'll help you learn, but I'll do it from here, from my home, with my family. To everyone's surprise, the Crystal Council leader's form began to glow with understanding. Through Alex's powers, they had felt the truth of human connections, the strength of human love. Perhaps, the leader said slowly, we are the ones who need to learn from Earth. That evening, as the Crystal Singers ship departed, Alex stood with their family watching the sunset. Their crystal form reflected the red Martian sky, but at their core glowed the steady light of belonging. You know, Mary said, when we first took you in, everyone thought we were crazy. Maybe we were, Jack added with a laugh, but it was the best kind of crazy. Alex shared a feeling of love and gratitude so strong it made everyone within 100 meters smile. In the years that followed, they would serve as Earth's ambassador, helping build bridges between humans and other species. But more importantly, they would continue to show the galaxy what humans had known all along. That family isn't about where you're from, but who stands beside you when you need them most. Tom, watching from his security office, smiled as he saw the family head home together. Sometimes, he thought, the biggest changes in the universe start with the smallest acts of kindness.